Pleiadian Master Teachings, Concepts from the Realms of Light. Channeled by Michael Love. Sacred Light Publishing. December 25, 2022. Chapter 5, Time. To realize the true nature of time is to become a master of time. Time is a big deal on Earth, and there is never enough of it. It is a cardinal sin not to be on time in the third-dimensional matrix. Life in the physical realm is strictly organized and made more efficient by adhering to the agreed-upon time system, which is measured down to the second by clocks and calendars. This adherence to Earth time can create stress as one constantly watches the clock and calendar to ensure they're on time. We have even heard the phrase, money is time, and time is money. Although these kinds of time may be beneficial for organizing and structuring one's life on Earth, this time is only a mental and illusionary concept that has nothing to do with the reality of time. Some may ask the following questions about time. If Earth time is only an illusionary concept, why does the body age, and why does an older adult often pray for more time to live? Many wish they could spend more time doing the things they love, and when they do not do this, there is often much regret later. Similarly, many wish they could spend more time just being in the presence of those they love dearly, and when this isn't accomplished, again, there is often much regret later. How can something that is not real be so precious and desired? A master of time learns to conquer time. On one's evolutionary journey towards higher consciousness, one eventually transcends the lower laws and gains control over time, not the other way around. At that point, one is no longer bound by time and begins to operate outside of its restrictions. When one understands the true nature of time, one realizes they are eternal and have all the time in the universe. They become a master of time. Masters of time are aware that Earth time is an illusion and that the mental concepts of past and future are also an illusion. The master of time is aware that in the ultimate sublime reality, the body doesn't age, nothing does. The time master knows that body aging is simply the deterioration of body cells, which can be prevented and has nothing to do with time. The master of time does only what they love and are always near their loved ones. A master of time has no regrets. The beings of the earth say time passes, but time is not an object that can pass or move anywhere. They say time flows, but time is not fluid, so it cannot flow. Therefore, time doesn't pass through or by anything. Likewise, nothing passes or moves through time because time is not a thing or field that something can move through. We said that the third-dimensional Earth concept of time and the past and future are illusions. However, we did not say that time was an illusion. There is a real time, and you are about to become the master of it. This real time does not advance in a line or a cycle. It doesn't do anything. It just is. It is invariant, eternal, and still and cannot be measured. This real time of the universe is called the eternal now moment. The now moment is the only time and the only moment of reality. Reality itself cannot exist unless it exists now. Consciousness itself exists only in the now moment, and this is its very nature. Therefore, to be conscious is to be aware of the now moment. The ultimate knowledge and skill of the master of time are to bring full focus and conscious awareness into the present moment. The master knows that the magic of life and the universe only occur in this state. This now focused awareness is called presence or being present and is divine. There is great power within the moment, and the goal is to keep one's focus on it as much as possible. In this moment of presence, all things become as they truly are, at one. These masters of time often use a candle flame as their now moment focal point to keep their awareness anchored to this only true time. After much practice of this now focus, one eventually masters the art of staying present, and their consciousness levels are greatly elevated. Here is a valuable general technique one can practice each day to perfect their mastery of time. Everyday existence on Earth can be very distracting, so when the mind trails away into the illusionary past or the future, practice becoming aware this is happening, and when you notice it, say the trigger word now to yourself abruptly. Then, at that second, intently bring all your conscious awareness into the present moment and practice maintaining this presence. Thinking about the pleasant memories of the past and dreaming of the future is a normal part of life. However, when one tries to exist in a sustained way in either of these non-realities, one's required energy for physicality begins to dissipate. This is because if one constantly lives in the past or the future mentally, they are not grounded in the only reality of now, where material things manifest. Energy flows where consciousness goes, so if consciousness moves out of the now reality frame, one's physical being is no longer receiving the required observance energy it needs to stay manifested. So, where is your local, physical existence while the mind wanders into the non-reality of the past or future? It's as if one's local self doesn't seem to exist during these false time trips. Also, notice that your immediate local existence came back as soon as your consciousness came back and observed all of it. Physical existence requires consciousness ! And quad. The Pleiadians, to operate at optimal universal power and energy levels and for life to unfold at its fullest, one must keep one's consciousness focused on the now, the only reality of time. Now is the only time, Even in physics, now is when you exist and the only time you can exist. Therefore, all existence is in an eternal state of being that only occurs in the present moment. This moment has no beginning and no end. It is always and forever. What about time travel to the past and future? If now is the only time that exists and the past and future are only mental concepts, how can time travel be possible? One might say, I am convinced that secret groups on Earth and advanced galactic civilizations have already achieved time travel. If one suspects this, they are correct. We must clear up an important issue before we speak about travel through time. The phrase time travel is not the correct phrase for describing travel to the past, the future, or the present, for that matter. This phrase is quite misleading because one cannot travel through time. As we said, time is not something one can travel through. Furthermore, as we will see in our space chapter, one does not travel anywhere. A better word than travel might be shift. Regardless, there is a real past and future, and one can shift into either of these. It's just that the wrong labels and descriptions are used to describe the past and future. The very real past and future are not times but are referred to as timelines and can be described as alternate realities. If you ask someone to describe what a past time was like, for example, the year 1800, most will begin describing the 1800 clothing style or mention that folks lived in log homes and used horses and wagons for transportation. Likewise, if you could obtain a first-hand description of the year 3035, one will most likely describe the technology used in that future year and tell you how futuristic things looked. But, if you noticed, nothing in these descriptions of the past and future describes time. Time is about rates of change and events occurring and is not really about time. An alternate timeline is a different version of reality composed of different events and rates of change and often includes an illusionary time and date stamp. Only the outwardly perceived scene changes when an alternate reality is observed and manifested, not the time. These timelines are isolated and separated from each other by their vibrational resonance. All of these infinite parallel timelines or alternate realities are occurring right now, in the present moment. These alternate realities are sub-levels of vibration contained within the 12 dimensions of this universe. Think of these timelines more like individual film frames or photo snapshots of every reality that exists and will ever exist in this universe. Let's call these frames reality frames. Now picture these snapshots or frames placed in one tall stack that reaches from the bottom to the top of the universe. The stack itself is the now moment, time, and each frame is a different snapshot of the infinite realities that make up what may be perceived as the past and future. 1 billion years ago, the year 1900, and the year 3050 are all occurring now in their own reality frame. Each of these frames exists at a different and specific vibrational frequency, and no two frames are composed of the same information. The vibrational information within a frame can be decoded, projected, and manifested as the now time reality by a resonant conscious observer. Consciousness projection works much like video player software that, by default, plays these frames in order, in forward motion in a steady live streaming way. Masters of time are the creators and manifestors of time. By default, during the waking state of consciousness, the beta state, one does very little or no shifting through time reality frames, and one usually only manifests time with little or no change in this time being perceived. One is already shifting constantly and instantly into alternate time realities. Still, they are only shifting to immediate adjacent near identical frames, where the frames share more data with the now moment. In higher consciousness states, however, one can instantly shift into more complex alternate reality frames that share very little common data with the now moment. An example of these more complex frames might be the years 9000 BC or 6035. Even so, the successful time jumper, the observer, still experiences these very different reality frames as the now moment. Time travel, timeline jumping. In various secret projects, jumping across timelines using technology was achieved on Earth nearly 80 years ago. For example, in the Philadelphia experiment of 1943, U.S. naval scientists created a space-time portal by combining gravity and electromagnetism into one field. Giant coils for generating this field were placed around a Navy ship loaded with sailors. Though the experiment worked, at this early stage of Earth technology, the space-time jump resulted in casualties and rematerialization problems. As a result, the project was shelved after ending in tragedy. The Philadelphia project was a precursor to the Montauk project of 1983 that involved integrating human consciousness with a computerized space-time algorithm and amplifying and broadcasting the output. This project was an artificial recreation and boosting of the natural manifestation process of consciousness. Unfortunately, though it worked to shift many young, unwilling participants into alternate space-time realities, this project created some nightmares and was also terminated after it ended in tragedy. DARPA Project Pegasus was another secret project where a space-time tunnel was successfully opened, allowing a jump to alternate timelines and back. The time portal in this project was a shimmering curtain of radiant energy projected between two elliptical booms. The amazing technology used in this timeline jumping project is attributed to Nikola Tesla. Shifting to past and future timelines have also been achieved in secret projects naturally, using human consciousness. This was accomplished in the Gateway project in 1983. This timeline shifting project successfully worked by using heightened levels of consciousness to interact with the universal hologram of time and space in a process called space-time transcendence. This interaction with universal reality frames was combined with a deep meditative out-of-body experience for the shifting part. In modern times, the Gateway project documentation has been declassified. Here is a synopsis partly derived from this documentation that illustrates how natural conscious timeline jumping can be achieved. Shifting or jumping onto an alternate timeline is as easy as changing one's resonance to match the desired reality frame of that timeline. This is achieved via deep meditation, energetic focus, and an out-of-body experience. However, just because it's done this way naturally doesn't mean it is not a real experience with tangible results. One must first move into the alpha state of consciousness to successfully jump timelines during meditation. Certain alpha-level binaural beats can be used to make reaching this state easier. The jump scene must also be experienced as real as possible to match resonance with the desired timeline reality frame. This is done by intensely focusing on the chosen reality frame and achieving a heightened sensory awareness. All the senses must fully perceive the jump scene because consciousness uses the senses to build the energetic template for the reality it is about to manifest. Furthermore, the desired reality frame must be experienced now because this is the only time reality can exist. One is ready to jump when it becomes impossible to differentiate the desired alternate reality frame from the present. When the scene from the perceived future or past becomes the perceived now reality, one will feel as if one has been here before, and indeed, one has. The jump is achieved as a subtle out-of-body shift into the new desired reality frame or timeline. Timeline shifting requires a thorough understanding of the topics discussed here, a high level of conscious mastery, and, just like anything, it can take some practice before one is successful. What are the implications of timeline shifting? Reality frames are universal constants that do not and cannot change, and the observer, the timeline jumper, certainly cannot change a reality frame. Therefore, simply shifting to these alternate timelines creates a brand new timeline and a new present from the observer's perspective. Besides creating a different perceived reality for oneself, there are no implications of timeline jumping or paradoxes. A related phenomenon involving time is the ability to slow it down or speed it up. Since we have deduced that time is only a mental construct and what we think of as time is the rate of change of things, instead of slowing down or speeding up time, one would be slowing down or speeding up the rate of change of things around them. It turns out that, yes, this can be done, and one does it with consciousness. Of course, heightened consciousness levels can contract and expand space-time. The lambda state of consciousness is triggered when one perceives danger, where time seems to slow to a crawl, and there is a clear perception of this slowdown occurring around you. This state of being is a survival state designed for physical protection and preservation. With time slowed down and you moving at normal speed, you have time to make some quick adjustments and protect yourself before impending danger impacts the body. Beings that have achieved this slowed down state say the pixels of reality are also transformed into Ultra HD quality so one can easily notice every detail. Though this slowdown of so-called time usually only happens when danger flies in one's face, it is possible to reach this state in meditation. Master martial artists can slow down everything that is moving around them while in battle so they can successfully counteract every movement of their enemy in plenty of time. Many have described a related experience during heightened levels of consciousness when danger is near, where consciousness not only slows down but seems to split into multiple versions of itself that can view a dangerous scene from different angles, allowing the observer to see the best route away from the danger. What about speeding up the rate of change of matter around you, aka time? You've heard the phrase, time flies by. Have you ever had an experience of bliss where there was great peace and no cares or worries, where you felt the timelessness of now, and your whole life became just one moment? Many have described the time spent suspended in this state as many hours passing, but after this experience, no time seemed to have passed. Either way, all the change that one is aware of around them, perceived as time passing, is occurring now, always. As one's consciousness becomes more evolved, one creates more time, and the creator of time is the controller and master of time. It is time to be free from time. Do away with the old mental construct of time and make your own time. Make time for the beautiful now moments of life. Author's information and book purchasing links to online bookstores and PDF purchase, available for immediate downloading. www.sacredlightpublishing.com/books. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. More information from author. Website, www.5dearthproject.com. Facebook, Michael Love. YouTube channel, @PLEIADIAN Light Forces.